àkọ́kọ́ nílẹ̀ adúláwọ̀.
It is no longer news that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, had extended the collection of permanent voters' card, PVCs, till 29th January 2023 to enable more Nigerians who have registered as voters to collect their PVCs so that they can participate in the elections. Today, I have the pleasure of having in the studio the resident electoral commissioner, INEC in Oyo State, Dr. Rahman Tella. With me to discuss as we consider response of the people in Oyo State to the collection of the PVCs and preparations as the elections draw closer. Viewers can join us for comments, questions and contributions by calling the studio line on 0903-795-4902. 0903-795-4902. The line again, 0903-795-4902. I'm your anchor for today, Kemi Akiwande. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Tella, you're welcome to Discourse.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome again into our studios. Now we know the collection of permanent voters' cards are on at the moment. The collection is ongoing, but there are issues. We know that by the 5th of this month, there was this statistics that Southwest stands to have the highest number of uncollected permanent voter cards, totaling over 3 million. In Oyo State alone, just last week, over 900,000 yet to be collected. Now, this issue of uncollected voter cards is just there, and we know the exercise is on for people to go and collect their voter cards. Now, at the ward level and all that. Now, what necessitated the recent extension for the collection? And Nigerians, they usually wait till the rush, last minute, and then there will be a rush. What is the commission doing about this?
Once again, Kenny, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
We are glad to note and to bring to the knowledge of eminent Nigerians that constitute the electorate, the political parties, candidates, and the relevant stakeholders. One, on the level of our preparations towards this upcoming election, that has to do with the PVC. The collection of PVC should be seen as something that emanated from the registration, which is the continuous voters registrations. And before we began the registration, we discovered that in 2019, we had some certain shortfalls that we even resorted to calling and ensuring that the commission embark on continuous voter registration. In Oyo State, prior to continuous voter registration period in 2019, the total figure stood at a bit about 2 million. But when we discovered that we still have some left behind that were not totally captured in terms of registration, in terms of the age bracket, and in terms of those that have gotten their cards lost and damage fees, the Commission considered it imperative to once again start this severe. Shortly afterwards, we equally embark on the expansion of the voter access to polling unit. And we did that when it was equally discovered that we have some that could not even have access to polling units then in 2019. And not only that, some environments were undeveloped and it to forest when we were doing the CVR in 2019. And they were not adequately served with the respective polling unit in their environment. Also, we really need to migrate some eligible registrants at their polling unit to the new existing one. What the commission simply did was that they now harvested from the voting point and voting point settlement, existing one, to form a polling unit using the benchmark of 75, so 150 registrants at a polling unit. Then, the total number of polling units we have in Oyo State today now resulted to 6,390 polling units against what we had in 2019 that stood at 4,783, meaning that addition of 1,707 polling units have been added. Because we have seen that this is a nation where the population has even grown astronomically to a point that we could not sufficiently be making use of the existing polling unit rather than creating another one. With the fact that we still have some that were left that were falling within the category of age limit, which is age 18 then, that they have not registered. So we did that. And today, the total number of registration we have is a bit above 3 million, which is 3,276,107 against 2 million that we were having initially. Which implies that the efforts made by the commission really had significant effect over the CV hub and the polling unit. On this note, our department, one of the departments in the commission, which is even being tagged as VEP, Voters and Education Publicity Department, engage on serious sensitization and awareness, a constant one, to enlighten our people on the need to collect the PVC, on the need that they have to put much reliance on the strength of this PVC to cast their votes. We now embark on awareness, moving around all the senatorial districts. And people came out in mass for registration. When it comes to the issue of collection, we equally engage a lot of people, not only INEC body that's being charged for the responsibility of sensitization. We make use of the civil society organization, the people with disability, the market women, the youth wings, and the observers equally involved.
And of course the media.
The media outfit are equally involved. So that now brought to the level that we have. 2 weeks ago, the total number of PVC unclaimed and uncollected stood at. So, but nonetheless, the commission took this frantic effort in a bid to realize and make amendments, address some certain issues that we think we consider necessary for us to get a credible election and for everybody to be carried along. Because this is specifically meant for the Nigerians to determine the fate and the person that will be occupying their seat, the power of seat in the next 4 years. I mean the next political dispensation.
Now, with 4 days to go,
yes,
what is the commission doing to ensure that all the uncollected voter cards?
With you, we have each desk officer in our respective local government, and they are on it. You will recall that sometimes ago last week, the devolution of this PVC was taken to the wards. Yes. with the time frame given to them. But when we discover that we still have many more, we have to take it to the local government area offices, which is equally close to the wards where they go themselves registered. So, and our desk officers have been making a frantic effort in the local government to move around and electoral officers to sensitize our people on the need to collect the PVC, which is specifically meant for the voting.
Now, the deadline is Sunday, 29th.
Exactly.
Would there be any other extension?
I wouldn't say, because the commission is being guided by the policy, and we normally been having a directive from the headquarters before we take any step.
Okay, as it is with this present extension, because you extended by 1 week.
Exactly.
Now, this present extension, how is it going to affect the INEC timetable?
It cannot affect the timetable in any form.
So we still just have to go ahead with
Election.
the present timetable for the elections.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, has there been any marked impact of the extension by on considering responses of
that is why I was even telling you that then, before we extended, we were having about 900,000. But it has have a kind of significant effect on the numbers that are drastically reduced, with 355,000 and above, those who have collected so far.
Because the number yet to be yet to be collected is still much, considering
that is why
we take a look at the Southwest, or your state in particular. We have so many enlightened people, educated people, and then one would wonder why people are not collecting their PVCs. So, with that number still much.
Looking at the data of those who have collected, you discover that the overwhelming majority of those who have collected constitutes women, which is about 51%. And we have about 49% that happens to be the men. Even the men we are referring to happen to be the younger ones.
The youth.
Exactly. So, we have been taking a proactive steps and approaches for people to get them cards collected.
So now, a number of issues came up even while people are collecting their PVCs. Now, some would say that they couldn't get to collect their card. Probably they registered somewhere else and they couldn't get their card where they are resident now in Oyo State. What can be done to ensure that these people get their cards before the deadline on Sunday?
You see, before we embark on the continuous voter registrations, the commission engage all the stakeholders, not the political parties alone, Nigerians, and everybody had their own submissions before it was finally ratified. Part of the issues that we embedded in the policy is the time frame, the method of registrations, and the applications on how to apply. The newly technology in place that we are going to make use for the election comes with various components. One of the components is ABIS. This ABIS is specifically meant to weed out multiple registration. If you have double or if you have registered twice, it then means that you could not have access to your card. That's number one. Some engage in registration, but they could not complete it. Some made transfer, but they could not even complete the registrations. Some have the face cards, but they could not even bring it to the appropriate place where they could be rectified. So, and they are even considering themselves as eligible registrant. But we are not even telling Nigerians that it is only eligible registrant that will stand to cast their vote and that can make use of their card during the election day.
Now, let's take a look at the issue of voter education. All that you have said is expected to be part of it. Now, how would you assess efforts towards the direction of ensuring voters are educated by INEC and other relevant stakeholders?
We have an association, a body that is called ICES, Interconsultative Committee on Election Security. We have the stakeholders meetings. We have the young and the youth wings, and outreaches to the men and women over there. We have the one that is specifically being directed to the traditionals and religious body. All the aforementioned bodies will normally deal with them on consent basis. We organize a seminar and a workshop where they are given a better understanding and a basic orientations needed for the registration and the proceedings of collecting their PVC. It is like you said earlier on that Nigerians, we have a specific attribute that are normally being attached to us. Not until when it gets to 99 hours, people will not come out and do their registration or come out in place. We have volumes of cards printed right now, distributed to each local government for onward collections. People there are not collecting it. And we embark on serious sensitization. Taking it to their doorstep last week, devolutions to the RA, which is what? Nevertheless, they refuse to come out. We now even took it to the local government now, where we still have volumes yet to be collected. And one thing about this policy that will properly guide us in commission is this: no one can collect cards in proxy for someone. A father cannot collect it on behalf of him. Exactly. So it cannot be collected on behalf of someone. Not until when you, even if you cannot track, they have to take it down there for proper identification.
Even now, considering the physically challenged,
yes.
I saw some, they were able to collect their cards. So definitely, you are on top of it to ensure that
people collect their cards.
Exactly. Now, how would you describe the security architecture ahead of the elections? We just have a few weeks.
You see, the issue of security, we have been constantly addressing and reviewing this, because the way it manifests, it normally comes in a diverse way. And each state has its own peculiarities. The commission on its own part, they have done the needful by making sure we have gotten the necessary things, appropriate things put in place. For instance, we have the election violence mitigation advocacy tools, which idea is to early discover some certain element that could mitigate the election or that can result to violence. Okay. And when this is being discovered, they normally relate this by diversing it to relevant stakeholders and the concerned parties, such that we can come up to curb the menace in a little way. Not only that, another focus that the commission even have in place is threats. You could see that the insurgency started not when the election comes around. It's been all over the security issues. We have the bandits, we have the Boko Haram, we have incident of hate speech, we have intra and inter-party conflicts, we have the proliferation of small arms and light weapons, and etc.
May I probably add arson. Some of your offices got burnt.
Let me quickly address what you have about the security. So all these have been encompassed. I know all these have been encompassed, where the commission has now even looked it in one direction. Another aspect that I would like to talk on that has to go to do with burnt offices is our security agencies. We have engaged them, and we are having this kind of constant interface with the security agencies. And part of the issue that we discuss is to ensure, for instance, the GCO have taken it upon himself to ensure that we seal all the boundaries, all the states that share boundaries with your state, so that we have, in a bid to prevent the influx of political talks that normally unleash violence during the election day. Then operationalizing of no other movement on election day, where the CP equally even putting that one in place. We look about the uniformity of identification of security agencies on election day, attempt to prevent impersonations, and more importantly, we are setting up a situation rooms in our office. This we establish to troubleshoot the election activities as they proceed on INDA. And if eventually something is even found, we find a means of mitigating so that it will not occur or affect the election proceedings. Then the part of the issue discussed with the security agencies is the flashpoint that the Commission of Police equally raised, that they have seen some and they are finding a means, they are strategizing a plan to curb criminalities and threats on election day. Then we now analyze thoroughly the history of crimes being committed all along when the election has been conducted in Oyo State. These and many more have been discussed fully, which could not be seen in this environment.
Okay, let's quickly take a look at the device that we use because of our time.
Okay.
The BVAS is one of the recent technological innovations. Now, we know that you have organized trainings for your officials towards handling of BVAS during the elections. Is there any provision for an alternative should BVAS fail?
In 2019, we made use of smart card reader. But now we are replacing BVAS for the conduct of the election to change for the smart card reader. And this BVAS has come to stay and is a game changer because it has some certain functionalities that we have not been enjoying when we are making use of the smart card reader. For instance, the BVAS serves the function of registering the eligible registrants. We made use of it through the IVET, one of the components of the BVAS. The second aspect is the election procedures, which is the accreditations, authentications, and the conduct of the election. And this BVAS will definitely identify your face and your fingerprints. If one face, the other will not face. The third one is the other component that is being attached to the BVAS, which is the IVES. And that one is specifically meant for the uploading of results. When we made use of smart card reader, we could not upload results. Not until when they bring the results to the collation center, we get the final winner of the election. But this time around, right from the polling unit, we upload, such that the electorate will be able to know that their vote is scanned, and they will definitely know who they have voted for, right from the polling unit.
Now, there's so many questions we would have still want to ask, but you know, it's like the time is not always our friend on the program. Well, we'll hope that by the time we'll reach out to you to come again on the program before the election day proper, you would oblige us.
Definitely, definitely.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Dr. Ramon Teller, the resident electoral commissioner, INEC. We thank you for coming on the program, and we hope that the general elections will be free, fair, and very credible. Thank you for coming on the program. And that's it on Discourse for today. We do thank you for being part of it. Do have a lovely day.
Nta Ibadan àkọ́kọ́ ní.
Chief, good morning, sir. You are here already?
No, now my spirit day, my body day for house. What kind of question is that? Were you not the one that fixed this meeting for 8 a.m.? You are now coming by 10 a.m. and start asking me jam questions.
But Chief, now, I'm sorry. Don't you also go late for meetings sometimes? You know now, African time.
No more African time. And no more pancaking of face during office hours. At the end of the day, we will lose valuable time. We will not make progress. If we want to move this nation forward, we must treat business as business and respect time. Change begins with me.
Thank you, sir. I am sorry. Can we go for the meeting now, Chief?
Better.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Good day, ma'am.
Hello.
Please, I'm here to see the GM.
Sorry, Zara.
I called him on my way and said if I'm here, I should call you guys around.
I said he is not around.
So can I wait for him?
If you want to, you can have your seat.
Thank you. Goodbye, my dear.
Good day, ma'am.
Hello.
Please, I'm here to see him.
This is the network service of the NTA.
And New Year recess, Senate is back to business. With 5 months left to wind up, the Ninth Assembly has now commenced preparations for landing. President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, welcomed his colleagues with emphasis on sustained commitment to national duty. He advised Nigerians to take advantage of the new Electoral Act and fully participate in the ongoing electoral process.
Our people, citizens across the country, would have the opportunity to elect a new president, a new vice president, set of distinguished members of the National Assembly and honor members as well for the 2 chambers on the 25th of February this year, by the grace of God. 11th March will see, by the grace of God, the elections into the offices of governors of about 28 or so, and of course state houses of assembly across the country. We in the Senate and indeed the National Assembly, we have often said that we support INEC and indeed support all the processes to ensure that there is peace, there is stability, that when the elections are held, that the outcomes will have the integrity that is required for the election outcomes to be accepted nationally and internationally. Therefore, we recommit ourselves to ensuring that we support INEC, that we support any other agency of government that works to ensure free, fair, and credible elections in this year and even beyond. We also want to assure Nigerians that this is an opportunity to vote for whoever you want to vote for. Of course, we believe that citizens have done the right thing to do to obtain their PVCs, because without your PVC, you cannot vote. The National Assembly last year did tremendous job to amend the Electoral Act. The Electoral Act as constituted today will provide better outcomes of elections, and this was done purposely to ensure that we did our job as members of the National Assembly of this Parliament for the sake of our country. So I urge Nigerians to take advantage, to take the opportunity of an Electoral Act that will ensure every single vote counts. I want to urge INEC to ensure that it stays on top of its game no excuses. INEC has gotten everything it has asked for. Our security agencies have assured everyone in this country that they will ensure that the environment is secured and safe for citizens to go out and vote without any let or hindrance. Let me also say that this Assembly, this Senate, will continue to look seriously into the issue of lack revenue or insufficient revenues for our government. Revenue deficit has been a major problem affecting performance of government because some of these agencies either don't do the work of collecting and remitting the revenues as they should, or they collect and misuse and misapply the revenues. Our committees on finance and other finance-related committees must be on top of their game to ensure that we get these agencies of government to remit the revenues that they collect. And I think that should be a major focus. Security is still a challenge. We hope to leave a better security situation by the time our tenure ends on the 11th of June this year, by the grace of God. We will therefore continue to support the armed forces and other security agencies to ensure that they have what they need to fight against the various insecurity situations across the country. We have often supported the executive arm of government in this enterprise, and we will commit ourselves to doing that. This is what we need to actually fix, probably more than anything else, because the security situation affects not only the lives and property of our people, but every other thing, economy and what have you. So it is a must that between now and 11th June 2023, when our tenure will expire, we have to continue to ensure that the security situation in our country improves. Finally, I want to once again congratulate all of us for seeing this year. We pray that we continue to work as we have always done. From 2019, 11th June, when we were inaugurated, we said our Senate will be a Senate that will work for Nigerians. We have lived that bill, and we should end with that, even in a better way. Last time we had our close before the Christmas break, we had a request from the executive arm of government on ratification or approval for the Ways and Means, and we set up a special committee headed by the Senate leader himself, and of course with membership from finance, appropriations, foreign and domestic debt, which other one? I think these are banking and other financial institutions. We expect that the report of the committee will be presented to this Senate today. The Senate leader, who is the chairman of that special committee, is here. Between now and the next week, when we hope to close, we have some other things to attend to. But this Ways and Means, I think, stands out. So I will, at the appropriate time, call on the Senate leader to present his report. The elections of 25th of February require that members of the National Assembly are also out there to campaign for their seats or campaign for their political parties or whoever they choose to campaign for. And therefore, if we are able to deal with some of these urgent issues before us, we can close the Senate this week. If we aren't able to finish, we may spill over to next week, early next week. But by the grace of God, the next legislative week will be the last week that the Senate will be here. Because we are supposed to also join the campaign trail. Thank you. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Senate received list of 7 nominees for screening and confirmation as members of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission.
Dear distinguished Senate President, appointment of members of Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC. In accordance with the provisions of Section 3, Subsection 3 and 7 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000, I write to forward for confirmation by the Senate the underlisted names of 7 persons for appointment as members of Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC. Member, Katsina State, Northwest. Hannatu Mohammed, member, Jigawa State, Northwest. Mrs. Olubukola Balogun, retired, member, Lagos State, Southwest. Dr. Abdullahi Mekano Saidu, member, Niger State, North Central. Prince Dauda Yahya Umar, member, Nasarawa State, North Central. Dr. Grace Nkechinyere Chinda, member, Delta State, South South. It is my hope that the distinguished Senate will consider and confirm the appointment in the usual expeditious manner. Please accept, distinguished Senate President, the assurances of my highest regards. Yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari.
Senate leader Ibrahim Gobir briefed Senate on the presidential request on the ways and means before the Senate.
You may recall that on the 28th of December, 2023, while discussing about the issue of ways and means that was submitted by the President Commander-in-Chief, a special committee was set up to investigate and find out how we could be able to solve this problem. In fact, immediately after that, we set in motion about the meeting, and then we started discussing how we could be able to solve this problem. We came up about 6 questions for the Minister of Finance, because there are 2 of them. The Minister of Finance and also the Governor of Central Bank, because these are the 2 people that we believe can give us the information that we require so that we can do justice to to our assignment. Now, unfortunately, in the process, after asking a lot of questions, because we sent about 6 questions to the Minister of Finance and about 5 to the CBN Governor, but unfortunately, we were not able to get the information that we are looking for. Why? Because the 2 of them were out of town. And therefore, it's going to be difficult for our committee to set up. It was difficult for our committee to come up with the report as scheduled today. But